Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dropping the Gloves. I am your host, John Scott. This is my co-host, Tim Wurzberger. We're joining you here. It's going to be a good night. It's a night recording. I like the night recordings because I can just let loose a little bit. I poured myself a little Crown Royal. Back when we used to have sponsors on the show, we got this guy, and I've been slowly but surely nipping away at it when times get tough. And then, I've had a rough couple weeks, so I need this. I need a little let loose, let the hair down a little bit. But Tim didn't want to have a drink with me because he's married now and he can't let loose anymore in front of the wife. He's got to be all buttoned up, right, Tim?
We were letting loose all weekend, Julie and I. We had a little weekend getaway in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is about 3.5 hours east on the water. Beautiful, cool little town. Very, very like Traverse, just the small downtown neighborhoods and shops and restaurants and stuff. It was really nice. And we had a few wine and beer and cocktails and everything else.
You're like a little kid when he talks about drinking. We had like a bunch of like wine and beer stuff, and it was like we did it. Oh, we did it all right. It's so funny. You're just a sweet little kid.
Oh, okay. How much have you had, John? One sip?
No, I haven't even had one sip yet. I'm just the aroma of this. I was in Savannah last weekend doing a talk, and I was telling Tim before we came on, I met a great group of people, fantastic group of people. And Savannah is one of those towns that just like the energy there, you can feel it. It's just got that vibe. It's an older school town, very just historic. So I finished my talk, and the guy who I was sitting with was like, from New York, Marty. He's like, John, you got to come out for a nightcap. I'm like, sounds good. So he owned the oldest bar in Savannah. So we go to the oldest bar in Savannah, over 100 some years old, probably 200 years old, I would imagine, maybe 400 years old. I don't know. And it's just this hole in the wall bar, and it just was a great time. He pulls a bottle of bourbon from behind the bar. The bartender had to go find it. And we had this guy chirping us from across the way going, it's the same as the well stuff, I promise. Get the well stuff. It's just as good. And we're ignoring him. And I'm like, no, it's not. This is better. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. But it was just great stuff. Good bourbon.
I'm going to be in Savannah next week. I just missed you. So, yeah, maybe we'll have to go over there and have a drink. Do you think he'll be as excited to meet me as he was excited to meet you?
Maybe. Yeah, you're an interesting guy. For those of you who don't know Tim, he's a tall drink of water, very interesting, well-versed in a lot of different things. So you're a good conversation, Tim.
Try to be. If you're bored, then you're boring, right?
If you're bored, then you're boring. I like that. Yeah. Moving on. I have some crow to eat. Well, not so much crow. And this has been an ongoing saga, Tim, for years now. Ever since we had bold predictions. What was it, 2 years ago? 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I said, Ovi won't beat Wayne Gretzky's record. Well, looky, I'm an idiot. It happened this past weekend. Wayne Gretzky got his record shattered by Alex Ovechkin. Well, Alex Ovechkin now has 895. Wayne Gretzky at 894. Let's talk about that pass, though. Because Tom Wilson, it's a beautiful constructed play in the power play. Tom Wilson just goes Maine to Maui, coast to coast. Takes it into the zone, finds Ovi in his office, and he fires it by Ilya Sorokin. And I'm not one for conspiracy theories. What nationality is Sorokin?
He's Russian.
What nationality is Ovechkin?
I believe he's also Russian.
Okay. I'm just saying.
What are you saying?
Pretty savable shot. You know what I mean?
Was it savable when the best goal scorer of all time is ripping it from the top of the slot? I don't know how savable that is.
No, I'm just yanking your chain, everybody. It's incredible. It's a record I did not think would ever be beaten. And I mean that earnestly. I've played the game. I have seen how good goaltenders are. I've played with Ovechkin and Austin Matthews and Stamkos and all of these great goal scorers. I've played against McDavid. I've seen them all. I've played with them. I thought that record was untouchable, just based on longevity. That's a simple fact. I did not think Alex Ovechkin would be able to produce to his 39th year the rate that he's producing. Tim, if he doesn't miss those games in the middle of the season, I think he missed, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, he broke his something.
His leg. Yeah.
He broke his leg. If he doesn't miss those games, he is leading the NHL in goals, in my opinion. Because Draisaitl has, 50, what does he have? 52? He's 100% got 10 more goals if he plays in those 3-4 weeks. So it's amazing what Alex Ovechkin is doing. And I will be the first to say it. I respect it. He is the greatest goal scorer of any generation. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What he did and what he is doing is incredible. I don't want to wax too much on this because I think he's just getting his tires pumped left, right, and center. Everybody knows how good this guy is. But now that he's beaten the record, unless you want to stay on this a little bit longer and just rub salt in my wound, you probably do. You're such a jerk. You know what? I take back everything I said at the start of the show. You're the absolute worst. I hate you.
Okay, so I haven't said anything yet. I wasn't going to rub the salt in the wound. I just wanted to point out two things. The first, and I think people, the diehards know that this whole thing started with a bold prediction back when we were partnered with Hockey Fights, and your prediction at the time was Ovi wouldn't even score 20 goals, and this is the year that he scored 50. Like, it was crazy. He bounced back
quite a few,
nuts. And then he wouldn't break the record. And then, but we never, or actually, I think it was Hockey Fights that posted it, or I don't know. But we never mentioned in the post on Twitter that it was a bold prediction, right? So it went viral for you just being a moron, and then the Russian machine never breaks, and all these websites just coming at you. That I remembered. What I didn't remember is from, I think, 2 years ago when you tweeted out when Ovi hit 800 goals. And I think Gordie Howe's at 801. It's something like that. He was one goal behind Gordie Howe, and you said, not only is he not going to catch Gretzky, I don't think he's going to catch Gordie Howe. And it was an obvious joke because it was one goal away, right? And most people got it, but that's still, people are finding that old tweet, including today, and still calling you a moron for that. Like, people don't understand the whole, right over your head thing. It's just, it boggles me.
Well, people are idiots. First and foremost, I think we all can agree on that. It's all over everywhere. You say one thing, whether it's in a jest or a joke or in passing or whatever, it's just like it's forever truth, no matter what context it was put in. So whatever, I don't care. And if I'm anything, I am crazy stubborn. And if I know that what I'm saying bothers you, it's over. It's over. I will lean into that son of a gun until the end of time. Ask Tim, because I know a couple things that bother him. And he has to edit stuff out of the show left, right, and center because I just think it's hilarious and he just can't stand it. And that's what the Ovechkin thing turned into. I was just like, this is great. People are losing their marbles. I'm going to say he's not going to beat the record. And I would be getting death threats. I would be just getting hate mail. You don't know anything. You've only scored 5 goals. Yeah, who cares?
In which league, though, right? And I think the Red Wings' Yzer playing kind of falls into that too. Not that you are only doing it. Hold on, let me finish the thought. I know that you are actually critical of it, but you also lean into it and poke at it way more than you would because you know how upset it makes people.
Yeah, it's fun to poke the bear because what good is it to just not get a reaction out of people? That's what I'm here for. I'm here for people getting upset at me. I think it's fantastic. And the Red Wings fans are so passionate, and they take the bait all the time. But I do firmly believe Steve Yzerman has no plan whatsoever. There is no, I don't want to get off track here. What the hell is his plan?
They're about to miss the playoffs again.
But we're going to get into that in a little second. But the whole Ovechkin thing, it begs the question, Tim, where does he rank in the hierarchy of not just NHL, but of all professional sports? Because there are some records that, some would say will never be beaten. The points record in the NHL will never be beaten. No one will touch Wayne Gretzky's point record. I think that's 100%. The goal record I thought was going to be untouched. He beats it. The home run record in baseball, Barry Bonds shatters it. The touchdown record, Peyton Manning and now Tom Brady, shatters it. The all-time scoring record in the NBA, LeBron James just beat it. 3-point record, Seth Curry beat it. These are records that are very fluid. They will be beaten over time based on just the way the game's played. Nobody thought the NFL was going to all of a sudden turn into an air raid league. It was defense and running. Now it's just passing. That's all we get. Passing. Basketball, who would have thought it would have been a 3-point league? All of a sudden, Steph Curry comes along. Now it's 3-and-D. That's all everybody does. Baseball, it's a home run league. That's how people are taught as kids. You trajectory, you swing up. There's no more Pete Roses cutting across the zone. We're going for singles and doubles? No, we're going for dingers, baby. That's what the kids want. And now hockey, we're going upstairs. We're going backhand toe drag, and we're going for goals, and we're going for showtime. The fundamentals are out of the game. So these records will be broken. Maybe not in my lifetime, but they will be broken. But it begs the question, where does Ovi rank, Tim? Is he in the upper echelon of sports zeitgeist? Is he with the Wayne Gretzkys, the Michael Jordans, the Babe Ruths? Does he belong in that group?
I think he might. And here's kind of the bigger picture here is like you had a lot of people, a lot of captains and stuff around the league releasing videos congratulating Ovi. And it was ready. Like it was pre-recorded like the minute it happened. The Kings are posting Kopitar and Quinn Hughes and Austin Matthews and all this. But it was Tom Brady. It was LeBron James and probably some soccer. Like I didn't see all of them, but you saw a lot of living legends, all-time greats congratulating Ovechkin on beating a record that no one thought could be beaten. So I think you have to put him in that. But he's still not Gretzky, right? He's still not Lemieux. He's still not Bobby Orr. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because he's still active, and maybe you just need a little time and space to really figure out and contextualize where he is in the bigger picture. But I don't think, and that's the other thing, I don't know if it's a big deal or not, but he's not, I wouldn't say he's not just American, but he's not North American. And it's a North American league, So I think that's going to have some bias in people's minds of where they put him in the rankings all the time. What do you think?
Does it factor into you that he doesn't fall within the top 10 for total points? Now he's got the goals, obviously, number one in goals, but he's still behind Yager and Howe and Messier and even Yzerman, Lemieux, Crosby. He's behind. Does that factor in to his placement? Because there's a higher weight placed on goals. Anybody can get a second assist. It's hard to score goals. Do you place him this is the top 10 of points? Gretzky, Yager, Messier, Howe, Francis. Does he touch any of those five?
I think he's ahead of Francis. I think he's probably ahead of Messier too. Yeah.
Why does Messier not get the respect he's due?
I don't know. Because he's outshadowed by the guys of his era.
But he wins a cup in New York without Wayne, and I think he won one in Edmonton without Wayne as well. So he has the hardware without, the Batman, which is Wayne Gretzky, to his Robin. It's bizarre that he doesn't get the respect. He's like a Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, everyone knows how good Breeze and Manning are, but if Tom Brady never existed, they would be folk heroes. It's always just in the context of the era that you play in.
All right. Is he better than Sidney Crosby then?
No.
Because we do the goals. You don't think he's better than Sidney Crosby?
No.
Okay, back it up. Why?
Crosby has more points. He has more cups. That's probably it. Yeah, I think he's always been a better all-around player. And I think the knock on him earlier on was that he was getting injured, but he's outrun that part of his legacy. So I think he's just a better player all around.
You've always had it out for Alex Ovechkin. I've been the one guy on the show who's an advocate for him, but it does make sense because Crosby is averaging over a point a game. Crosby's played 300 less games than Ovechkin. 300 less games, and 200 less games, and he's got more points than him. So there is something to be said for that. But I don't know, Tim. Ovechkin does impact the game in a lot of ways that Crosby doesn't. The physical aspect of Alex Ovechkin is not overlooked, but boy, when that machine gets going and he's motivated, he's an absolute beast out there. And I think he can take over a game more so than a Sidney Crosby can. But I think what makes Sidney Crosby great is just the consistency, the excellence and the consistency to do it every single shift. It's hard to do what Ovechkin does every single game, every single shift. You have to pick your spots. You have to exert that energy in certain parts of the game. Maybe 3-4 times a period, he really just goes nuts and it's game over. Whereas Crosby, it's every single shift, every single game, every single year. I've never seen that guy take a shift off. Like, he is incredibly consistent, and it's greatness every time he's on the ice. But they're great players. They're fantastic players. That's
the thing I don't really love about these conversations, because it feels like you're just kind of trying to spin negative or trying to, find holes in the legacy or what they're leaving behind. And Alex Ovechkin he was just the pressure that was put on him not only to build up his franchise, but to build up the game of hockey at a time when it was struggling, him and Crosby together. And they've lived up to every single expectation, if not exceeded it. And you're winning trophies and you're getting all this hardware and breaking records. And the coolest thing about these guys is they stayed on one team their entire career. I think that's a really overlooked fact right now, is that Ovechkin did all this on one single team. He didn't play a lot of losing seasons, but he was there for a long time with a lot of disappointments before he finally won the cup. So you have to give a lot of credit to him for that loyalty and just determination. And I mean, you look at some of the players he's played with, and guys, there's a list coming out of like the most assists to primary assist to him. And it's obviously the guys you'd think is Backstrom, it's John Carlson, Mike Green, TJ Oshie. And there's a lot of guys that you're like, really? Him? I think Marcus Johansson is in the like 7th or 8th. You know what I mean? Like Kozlov is up there. Like this weird, you're like, wow, I forgot they played for so long. So yeah, I anything we say that's negative about him in the context of this conversation is not intentional. He's an absolute legend, and he deserves all the attention that he's getting right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Their rookie year in 2005, they both eclipsed 100 points.
Yeah.
Their rookie year. And Ovi obviously won the Calder, but by a slim margin. Like, what? It's incredible. Good for them. Good for those two. It'd be interesting to see how he does in the playoffs. But I just want to say congrats. I think it's nice.
Did you see the clip last week when they played Fleury and they beat and they won, but he made all the Capitals, including guys that had gone down the tunnel, come back out to shake Fleury's hand, which is the ultimate respect for another guy who's going to be a Hall of Famer. So it's really cool, and that's the kind of stuff that you realize Ovechkin is just. Yeah, it was really cool. I like that.
He's an old school breed. He respects the people he plays against. He sees and acknowledges greatness. It was nice, but it's gonna be weird for Fleury. He's not even playing.
Yeah, but I think it's also cool. Like he respects it, even though he doesn't like him. I mean, everyone likes Fleury, but like Crosby and Ovechkin did not like each other.
Yeah,
like there's animosity there, and there's some really bitter rivalries, and he's putting that aside, and it's just cool. I like that stuff.
I will just put my little seal on this. I don't think he's up in the echelon as Wayne and those types of players, the Michael Jordans of the world. I think he's more in the Barry Bonds, Cal Ripken Jr., Kobe Bryant, Barry Sanders era. Those types of players who were super good, like the best of the best, but not quite the upper echelon. I think that is reserved for the Gretzky, Lemieux, Howe, Yager, maybe. Lemieux for sure. Mike Bossy. People forget how good of a goal scorer Mike Bossy was. He's incredible. But yeah, Lemieux definitely, I think, is still, gosh, it's such an argument. Lemieux, Gretzky, or who's the best player?
Yeah.
Where does longevity play? If he doesn't have cancer, if Hodgkin's lymphoma, he breaks every record Gretzky ever holds. Lemieux. Without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt.
If he played the same amount of games as Gretzky, it's stupid stats.
It's just there's no chance. All right, moving on. There's some updates, Tim, in the playoff seedings. It's been a while since we kind of taken a step back and just took stock in what is going on. And there's some rumblings. Friend of the show, Paul Bissonnette, and other people are talking. The Florida Panthers are tanking. They're losing on purpose. Why? Because they don't want to play the Tampa Bay Lightning first round. Why would they want to do that? Why would they want to lose and go into a wild card and let Ottawa play Tampa Bay and not play their interstate rival and have, an easy first round travel schedule? Because they would play the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto just beat the doors off them in the first round Maple Leafs. Toronto, let's pack our bags because we suck in the playoffs, Maple Leafs. Toronto, nobody shows up in the playoffs except for Willie Nylander a little bit, Maple Leafs. Toronto, we gave the seat to Austin Matthews this year. Nothing's changed, Maple Leafs. You believe this crap, Tim? Do you believe the Florida Panthers are purposely tanking to play the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round? They've lost 7 of their last 10. This is a team that went out in the deadline, made some great moves. They were playing good hockey, and all of a sudden they can't win a game. And don't look now. The Ottawa Senators are 2 points behind them, Tim, in the Atlantic Division. Whoa, boy. Imagine if the Leafs finally win the division. get to the wild card, and they play the defending Stanley Cup champions. Oh boy. What are your thoughts on this, Tim?
Yeah, I don't think that's actually the case for a few reasons, but mostly because Florida, you're the champions. You know what I mean? Like you're the team that teams don't want to face in the first round. I don't think they're trying to like. I know that the Tampa's probably the toughest matchup, but I don't think they're. I don't buy this for a second, and I just don't think you don't. There's so many things you don't have control over. That trying to lose hockey games on purpose and that impacting stats and all this stuff. It's just, does that sound like this team of all teams? You know, like this coach of all coaches. I don't think that's true.
I don't see Paul Maurice doing that, but to play devil's advocate, if I'm matching up, if I'm trying to find a team that I match up better with, line per line, I match up pretty good with the Leafs.
Yeah,
you know, I can bully.
Does.
Well, no, not. I think Tampa. When you look at that roster, they're a tougher out than the Toronto Maple Leafs are. Like I don't want to go into Tampa and play the first round and be on the road. And I got Jake Gensel, I got Kucherov and Braden Point. That's a hell of a first line. I have the biggest thorn in my side second line, which also produces in Hagel, Cirelli, and Nick Paul. That's a tough line. I don't care who you say you are. That's a shutdown line that can bury goals on you left, right, and center. And they also get Olivier Borkstrand and Yanni Gourde from the Seattle Kraken, who are just pricks to play against and have proven themselves as playoff just juggernauts. And Yanni Gourde, I don't know, Tim. I don't know. The track record of the Tampa Bay Lightning is pretty strong compared to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I know their back end is suspect, but then you got Vasilevsky. We know what he does in the playoffs. The guy is scary. So, I'm not saying they're doing it also, but I'm not saying they're not doing it.
Well, if you were going to do it, you got Matthew Tkachuk out. He's eyeing a return for the playoffs. You have your best defenseman, arguably Aaron Ekblad, who's 20 games for the PEDs, whatever he did. But then you a little bit of lineup management. Barkov, day to day, he was held out the whole weekend. Sam Reinhart last night, their game against the Red Wings, he did not play for maintenance. Sam Bennett did not play. It was a maintenance night off. There's a little bit, and Biz said this before last night's games. He didn't have that information when he made this assumption. So yeah, I mean, it's fun to think about, but no, I don't buy this. No way.
Well, how can you not say that? Even with all, they got Jesse Puljujarvi playing first line. Their first line went from Tkachuk, Barkov, and Reinhart. Now it's Verhaeghe, Rodriguez, and Jesse Puljujarvi. Tim, how can you not say that they're trying to lose? What I'm saying is they're not trying to win very hard. You know what I mean? They're not going out of their way to get a good spot in the playoffs. In my eyes, it looks like they're tanking to play the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. Is this good bulletin board material for the Toronto Maple Leafs? Yeah. Will it backfire on them? Maybe. But boy, what a ballsy move, man. Like, this is a ballsy move. You got 5 games left.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that you have as many games played as the Senators, and you're still ahead of them in the standings. They've won 3, you've lost 3, so there's a lot of sliding happening, but you don't, like, the Senators could lose the next 4. You know what I mean? And there's so many things out of their control. I don't think this is true. And I think Florida they have 5 games left. I think they win 3 of them. You know, this is a non-story to me.
I'm telling you right now, Senators are going to go 5-0 in their last 5 games. They play Columbus, they play Montreal, they got Philly, Chicago, and Carolina. If this happens, my goodness, if just imagine if you're Austin Matthews and you're just sitting there and you got to go, shoot, who's coming in game 1? Matthew Tkachuk, Brad Marchand, the defending Stanley Cup champions. Holy hell! What? Like, because you're gearing up for Ottawa. You're gearing up for this interprovincial matchup, rivalry. It's going to be great. You're the big brother. You should dominate this team. Then all of a sudden you get the rug pulled out from underneath you and you got to play the Florida Panthers. It's fantastic. Hockey is so fun. It's so fun. I think the Panthers are doing it. I do think they're doing it on purpose.
You talk yourself into it?
There's no good reason why they sit all those guys at once. You can stagger them to give them maintenance and still have a Barkov, a Reinhart, these guys in the lineup. No, you just rip them all away at once. You're going to lose that game for sure.
Yeah, I don't think you sit Sam Bennett for a maintenance day when you're already missing all those other guys, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it's also, listen, you've clinched a playoff spot. The playoff starts in like 10 days. This isn't like they don't care about these games too much. They want to be healthy. And like I said at the beginning of the segment, this is the team that other teams don't want to play. I don't think they're super worried about first round matchups. I think they expect to win every series they play. So, yeah, I don't think so. No, I'm going to say no.
I disagree, and let me tell you why. If they end up in the wild card spot, this ensures that they stay away from the Tampa Bay Lightning until the Eastern Conference Finals. Because they will, if they theoretically they play Toronto in the first round, they get by them. Then they'll play the Washington Capitals the next round because they'll be the next highest seed, right? Because I think they reseed after each round, the
I
lowest to
never
the
remember that
highest.
stuff. Yeah.
And so that would mean they get the Leafs and the Capitals versus playing the Tampa Bay Lightning and then having to play the Capitals. So I don't know. I just think the teams are too smart. The GMs are too smart. There's too much analytics there. And when you look at the rosters and you look at your potential matchups, you go, man, I kind of like battling against Austin Matthews.
Okay. Theoretically, if this was happening, who's in the know? Who is actually in a conversation that, hey, this is what we're doing? Because I'm sure like Brad Marchand's the new guy. He's probably not in that room. So, but he can probably figure that out, just as in most of the guys on the team. But is it just the coach? Is it the coach and Barkov? Is it the coach and the GM and Barkov and Kachuk? Like who's in part of that plan? You know what I'm saying?
I bet you it's the GM and the coach and probably Kachuk and Barkov and Ekblad. And the coach and the GM bring their proposal. They say, hey, this is what we're thinking. We went deep into the playoffs last year, Game 7 Stanley Cup Finals. We want to have a deep run this year. And they don't outright say we're going to tank, but they go, what do you think about sitting out a few games down the stretch to get some maintenance to get ready for the playoffs? The players are like, yeah, it sounds great. Well, we might slip in the standings, and I go, I don't care who we play. Yeah, let's get some maintenance. Let's get our bodies fresh. We're going to have a long playoff run. So I think that's how they pose it to the players.
Yeah, but I don't. Again, I don't think they would have foreseen the Senators winning 3 in a row and going 6 out of their last 10. You know, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. The next couple of days will be telling.
Man, if it happens, that'd be so freaking great.
I don't want it to happen because I want Florida, Tampa, and I want Toronto, Ottawa in the first round. I think that's way more fun.
It's more compelling just because of the geographical, yeah. But I think Florida Toronto is a hell of a first round series.
Yeah, but the other one wouldn't be. I think.
Speaking
Tampa,
of teams who are not in the playoffs, back to the Yzer plan. Steve Yzerman has his Red Wings playing, pun intended, red hot. They're playing very good hockey after losing, I think, 1 million in a row last month. They found their footing, and they're playing good hockey. They beat the Carolina Hurricanes 2 nights ago. They beat the Florida Panthers last night. They've won 6 of their last 10. Just in time, Tim, to salvage some jobs, and just in time to just ruin their draft capital, to just get enough points to get out of the top 10 talk, to get out of any kind of situation where they would have some talent on their roster. Some locked in, good talent for this team. Thank you very much, Steve Yzerman. I love what you did at the deadline. You didn't trade away any of our assets, any of our vets. You left them on the team. So now we're pretty darn good still. Not good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to get a good draft pick. Where it stands right now, they will be what? 15th in the NHL? 16th in the NHL? That puts them right on pace for just a garbage draft pick. It's just par for the course for these Detroit Red Wings. There's no foresight. It seems to me he manages this team willy-nilly every single day. There's no planning. There's none whatsoever. If you're a good GM, you have a 2-year plan, you have a 5-year plan, you have a 10-year plan. You have an idea where your team is going. He goes out and he gets Peter Mrazek and Craig Smith at the deadline. Not even Craig Smith. The lesser Smith. The worst Smith.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, what the hell are we doing, sir? So good for them. And another team that is on a little bit of a heater here, winners 7 of their last 10, 4 in a row, the Buffalo Sabres, who just do this to us all the time, Tim. Whether it's at the start of the season, the middle of the year, now the end of the year, you get the good feelies, you get the tingles. It's like, ooh, whoa, Tage Thompson's on a roll here. This is nice. Maybe we can get something going here. Oh, Alex Tuck is playing great. Thompson got a hat trick the other day. Tage did. He's been playing great hockey. Well, just good enough to not get a draft pick. Just good enough to ease out of the top 10. They're beating the Senators. They're beating the Lightning. They're beating the Bruins. Like, they're playing great hockey, Tim, in April. It just, isn't it maddening as a fan? Because I'm going to Buffalo tomorrow. I'm going to watch them play the Carolina Hurricanes. They're going to smoke the Hurricanes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's what these teams do that is so frustrating. You see the potential, but they can't do it like Sid Crosby does consistently. You know what I mean? And this is what's frustrating for GMs because Kevin Adams sees this and he goes, why, you guys, where is this the whole season? Then he has to go in the offseason and go, whoa, maybe, they turn the corner. Maybe this is the team. Maybe I don't make that many changes. And then they start the season and they suck again. They go, oh, you fooled me again, Sabres. You fooled me again. Is this maddening to you like it is to me? It really boils my blood.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. I mean, we have a lot of fans of those teams in our Slack channel as well as most other teams, and you can see like I'm kind of more in tune with the the day-to-day stuff and reaction to the games because of the Slack channel, which everyone should join. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, and it's frustrating. And you look at those teams, you're like, why couldn't we do this for a couple of weeks in November, and then again in January, and then a little bit like beginning of March, and like just string together 5-10 more wins is just so huge at this time of year.
Yeah.
And then next year the same exact thing will happen. It'll be like, okay, let's take this end of season momentum, bring in a little bit more pieces on the off season, and carry that over to the new year, and it just does not happen.
Yeah, and these Sabres, they're not beating low-level teams. They're beating the Vegas Golden Knights, the Edmonton Oilers, the Winnipeg Jets, the Washington Capitals. Like, these are top teams in the NHL, and they're waxing them in the last month. They beat the Capitals 8-5, Jets 5-3. Like these are solid wins for the Buffalo Sabres, and it's just you beat your head against the wall when you get those scores.
And this was the Vancouver Canucks for years. Remember, we talked to JT Miller like how hot they were at the end of every year. And then last year, they finally take this huge, massive leap forward. Okay, they are the team in the West now. You look at them this year, they're out of the playoffs. It's like, and like if you think positively about this, it's really hard to win in this league, and it makes you appreciate more the Tampas and the Vegas Golden Knights and Colorado's and Dallas Stars of the league, because it's really hard to do what they do. And it's not just getting like really good players on paper and expecting the wins to come, because a lot of these teams should be better and they're not. There's so many things that go into it.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I'm gonna grill him tomorrow when I see him. I'm gonna go up to Darlene and Tage Thompson. I'm like, why don't we do this for 82, fellas? What's the problem? And then I'm going to go in the Hurricanes locker room and I'm going to sucker punch Jalen Chatfield. You heard it here first. I'm not going to do that because you know what's going to happen? Someone's going to hear this and it's going to be taken out of context because I am joking, of course. I won't be allowed in the rink. The Hurricanes will get wind of this. So they won't let me go to the game. So I'll miss out on that whole thing. But I'm not doing that. I'm just teasing. If I see Jalen, I'll shake his hand and say, great job. You're a great hockey player. People are so serious.
Tell us about the event where you're going to.
3-day extravaganza in Buffalo. Yes, tomorrow I'm just doing a meet and greet in Buffalo, just hanging out, kissing babies, signing autographs, that sort of thing. Buffalo's so good with their alumni. They get them in, they do events, they do stuff around the community, they do charity. So I'm doing that tomorrow, and then on Wednesday I'm doing a signing at the Buffalo store with Jason Woolley, Derek Roy, Andrew Peters, Ryan Miller. And then on Thursday, Ryan Miller has his charity. He does like a catwalk where players do like a fashion catwalk with kids who are sick. So every player gets a kid and you walk down the catwalk with them. And it's a great event for Ryan Miller's charity. So I'm coming in for that as well. Then I'm leaving on Friday morning. Then I get to stay at my parents' house. So that'll be fun. I'm going home back to St. Catharines. It's funny. I had to really hammer in my parents. I'm like, I'm going to stay with you guys. Is that okay? And like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, no, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm like, it's 10 people. We're coming. Do we have enough beds? I'm bringing everybody.
Because you said you were trying to just bring some of the girls to give Danielle a break, and then she didn't allow you to do that.
She doesn't want me to take. She doesn't trust me with just some of the kids. She's like, I'm coming too. I don't trust you. So we're bringing everybody. And I had my parents are just like, yeah, no, it's gonna be great. I'm like, do you know how much we eat? Do you know the space we take up? Okay, we're coming. And like, oh, yeah. And then I talked to him today. Like, oh, we got, one bed upstairs and a couple down. I'm like, there's 10 of us. There's 10 people. We need beds. And so now I got to go get my air mattresses after this from my storage unit and get all sorted out. They're just oblivious, Tim.
It's just like an army marches through a valley, and when they're gone, like every tree is picked, every pig is slaughtered, like every bushel of grain has been taken on a wagon. Like you just devastate the area.
We're going scorched earth. Yeah, we are going to ruin this house, and they have no clue. And my kids will get into everything. I'm sure you listeners can relate to this. You go to somebody's house, whether it's grandma or grandpa's, they will be in every drawer. They will look under every couch. They will unbuckle, unclip, open everything they can get into. And my parents are just not ready for it.
No.
They're not ready. Like my 4-year-old, my 6-year-old, the twins, they will be in your bedroom, in your nightstand, opening up your drawer, seeing what you got in there. So you better make sure there's nothing that you wouldn't want them to see. Because that's what kids do. I know that's what I did when I was a kid. As soon as my parents left, I'm right in that drawer. Where's your piggy bank? Because my dad always put change in a little thing. Like I'd take all the toonies and loonies out, jackpot. I would go on my mom's drawer over here. I'm like, what's new in this drawer? And it's just, even if you've looked at it 100 times, you still do it again. You just want to see, look at random pictures and cards they kept and this and that and the other. So yeah, we're going to do that tomorrow. We're going to do an episode on probably Thursday. I'll do it from my parents' house. It'll be great. We'll have a clearer picture on playoffs. We got to do a playoff preview here soon because the teams are starting to get locked in. It's going to be a lot of fun. But anyways, that's it, Tim. We're on the road tomorrow. Anything exciting with you?
No. Safe travels. Have fun. And tell Marty Baron I said hello.
Martin Biron, Andrew Peters, and the whole Buffalo crew. Yeah, I will. And we'll talk to everybody on Thursday. Cheers.